rigorous instruction in standard academic writing. That had to have very high priority. And for me, one of the defining moments in this whole experience came at a school. I was new to the school. It was my first year there, and I was teaching senior honors English. And I told the students that we would be doing, a formal typed, or computer word processed MLA style research paper every term. That I didn't think they could master this in one pass. We weren't going to do just one major research paper. We were going to do a major research paper every term, and that it was going to be that I would grade it severely. And so you can imagine what you would expect. Research phase. You would expect research phase in the masses, right? If you say that. Well, in the front row sat the fellow who was soon to be the valedictorian of the school. And he put his head down as I said that, and he mumbled, thinking that I would not hear him. But I'm a teacher. We're teachers. And I did hear him. I said we'd do a research paper every term. He put his head down and he mumbled, "Thank God." And that's when I got it. That's when I got it. Because I realized he didn't care how hard it was going to be. He didn't care. He wanted me to be severe. He knew that he was in trouble. In a matter of months, he was going to be at a university, and he was going to have to turn in papers to his biology teacher and his history teacher and his English teacher, right down the line. And he didn't know what he was doing. And it was almost too late. He had gotten to be a senior in high school, and he still didn't know how to do it. And it was almost too late, And he said, "Thank God. Somebody's going to teach me how to do this." So I think you almost get a sense of cognitive dissonance when you look at what he said at first, because it surprises your expectations. Sometimes we have these sort of, low expectations. I suppose that's what I had, that the students would be demoralized when I said we were going to do all this hard work. Not at all. Not at all. He was thrilled. That the futures of gifted children make academic writing especially urgent. This is a special need. This is life and death for them, academically speaking. They have to be able to do this. Academic writing is perfect for gifted children. It is complicated, it's strenuous, it's very appropriate for them. So we have to teach all the academic fundamentals, all the academic details and basics and groundwork necessary to make the final product possible. And that includes academic words, academic sentences, academic punctuation, academic paragraphs, academic essay structures. The kids need to learn a serious research paper standard. I like the MLA, but you have APA and Turabian and so forth. The kids need to learn at least one major standard like that, and they need to know it cold. And I think we have to have, there are implications about grading. I think there are issues about grading that we should address. So the problem is not that we just need different writing activities. That's not the problem. If the kids cannot write quality academic language now, and we want them to be able to, We can't fix that just by changing writing activities. That won't happen. In order to fix it, we have to implement system-wide a complete and a coherent curriculum of formal language study. That's what's necessary. And yet, that's the very thing that has been removed from the curricula across the country. In recent decades, many school systems abandoned formal language study. And I'm sure you know that. Grammar, in system after system, grammar has been banned. Actually banned. I've had teachers come up to me and say, you know, your recommendations about grammar sound great, but in our school, we're not allowed to teach grammar. And if we do, we get marked bad on our evaluations. So, you know, direct instruction in vocabulary was banned. You know, you were only allowed to learn vocabulary in the context of the literature, and if you found a word in a book, you could look it up. But your teacher couldn't give you a list of words to learn. Or, as what I would recommend, a list of Latin and Greek stems. We took the classics. You know, in many school systems, they took the serious reading out of it. You know, they took away Pride and Prejudice and, you know, A Tale of Two Cities and, you know, Treasure Island and on and on and on, you know, to The Call of the Wild and so forth. They took a lot of the classics, or all of the classics, out of the curricula because these were seen as politically incorrect, which is nonsense. I mean, if they knew anything about the great classics of the world, one of the first things you notice is that the great classics of the world come from everywhere. They come from all populations, they come from old and young, they come from men and women, you know. And, you know, they come from every minority you can imagine. I mean, they're just our great, great classics. The classics are a demonstration of the universality of genius. There is genius in every group. And then when it came to writing, the idea was that we would focus on ideas and we would minimize correction. So I'm going to talk about that more. What happened then is that when we banned formal language study, we abandoned writing. We didn't think of it that way. And school systems would say, well, we don't do grammar, we focus on writing. You know? I mean, what an odd... You try to get your mind around that, it's very challenging. We don't do grammar, we focus on writing. I kept hearing that. So what that means is there was this effort to teach writing in isolation. I don't use food, I focus on cooking. What? Could you please repeat that? Writing per se, there was an effort to teach writing per se. And so what we saw was an attempt to address students' affective needs by stressing informal writing. To be candid with you, I'm not focusing on students' affective needs is not my focus here. I'm worried that they can't write an academic paper. And I'm not trained in psychology. And I'm not trained in psychiatry. You know? But I can help them with their sentences. And that's my focus. That's where I think, as an English teacher, I'm more worried about their academic needs.